We're live. Welcome. We're back. It's week 32, and we're back, and it's good to see you again, Harjit. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We've actually got quite a lot to talk about, and we've made that even more packed by bringing in some friends. I say some friends, plural. Obviously, it is just Steve Weiner sat there.
Oh, Towley's here, so and the Kool-Aid Man. So
there you go. There's the friends. We do actually also have Andrew Taylor. He's just rebooting, I think, because of slight audio issues, which is why we're a slight minute or two late. So thank you for your patience. Anyway, Steve, how are you?
I'm fantastic, team. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good. Well, the first thing I was going to talk about was actually about Andrew, so I can't do that while he's not here because that would be rude. So I'm going to wait a minute to talk about that.
Right.
But obviously, at any point, please throw questions in the chat. That would be useful. I can see the chat, thankfully, which is good, and we'll try and respond. Last time was really busy, wasn't it, with questions? So
it was really busy.
Hopefully, with the three of us, we try and keep up. And I know, Steve, last time you were actually in the background helping out anyway, so that was good. Anyway, so let me quickly talk about a couple of new things with Robopack and just stuff in general, and that might start some conversation going on, right? And then when Andrew does join, hopefully I'll spot it because it's possible that he'll join and I won't admit him to the room, and that would be sad because he'd be sat there in the dark. But let me quickly share my screen and we'll go through stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about really is that huge upgrade. It's not huge. It's huge for me because it was a bugbear of mine that the new flow creation screen was quite. Andrew's joined. Let me get him in. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, I'm here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
The new flow creation screen was kind of always a little bit. I felt it was a little bit. Let me grab a package, and just create a flow. This is a little bit verbose, and there's a lot going on here. And when you explain this to a new user of Robopack, it's kind of, well, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff. Don't worry about that at all. And it's actually just these three things that you really need to care about. And so and I used to just say, imagine these are all hidden under a little advanced button. And that's what they've done, thankfully, now. They've put that under a little advanced button. So these are now kind of been condensed and also hidden. So now we have something like, oh dear, I have to start again. I had it ready, but I'll redo it. Condensed to this. So the idea is that now you only need to look at these, and really you don't even need to touch these, but these are the most customizable things that will have almost no impact in how the application gets deployed. And then if you do want to talk about handling and more the advanced stuff, you can just go under there. And then you've got the script template, which might be interesting for you. You might want to change the script template because you might want to allow deferrals or not. And then this is where I think it's really changed, because rather than what you used to have, which was that you would choose how can I put this? Someone described it to me earlier on as it's like a cocktail, right? So in the past, you used to have the ingredients of the cocktail. These are the ingredients. Right. And now you've got the name of the cocktail. So rather than figuring out what you need to put in order to make a thing that you want, you now just choose the thing that you want, and Robopack figures out how to make that happen. Yeah. So now, for example, obviously start automatically is a no-brainer. Really, that's what that meant. Fine. But unticking it meant it didn't start automatically, which is inferred as start manually, right? Fine, got that. But next, we've got these three, which are possible to define based on the selection of these two checkboxes, right? And that's not obvious when you're selecting it, because obviously they can be one on, one off, both on, or both off, right? And that's three different states. And we've got this as the result. So we can either wait for the final wave before starting a new version, pause the current version and start a new one, or we can run a new version along the existing. That gets riskier and riskier as you go down. But the standard way to do it is just wait until the final wave before pushing the new version. And that helps you if vendors are releasing applications really quickly. We don't want to keep pushing new versions to users every day. So let's wait until the final wave, then start testing that latest version. And then this one here hasn't really been changed a lot. It's still possible to keep any number of superseded versions that you like. I don't like the idea of disabling supersedence. It does actually break one feature of Robopack, I found out, if you disable supersedence, which is the auto update for available apps is not possible if you remove supersedence, because that uses the supersedence in order to automatically update the app that was available. But the rest of it is it's your choice as to how many superseded apps you want.
How many versions do you like? What's your number there?
3.
You like 3? Okay.
Yeah,
I like 3 also. I think the folks who are interested in 8, I think that's telling of a problem in their life. So I think once you get to that many,
You don't like 8?
No, once you go 4 or 5, once you go above there, you want to ask them, how's everything going outside of Intune?
I'm more like a 2 or 3, and that's
yeah, that's fine. Anything outside of that, we got questions. But
so one
good.
thing to make clear about this is that the superseded versions actually is not on the devices; it's an Intune, right? So I think a lot of people think like, oh my God, we're keeping 3 versions of that app on a device. That's going to be a disaster. No,
that would
that's
be
not
chaos.
That would be incredible. Yeah, it's like, and it's no different than what folks do if they were doing their own apps and supersedence and Intune. You tend to keep, certain versions around. So what's nice here is you're just having Robopack handle that for you. So yeah, I think whatever number you go with, it's what it is, but at least it'll keep it tidy.
I think if you do keep 8, you're the kind of admin who wants to keep all the group policies.
Yeah, like I said, at 8, we can take them aside and just make sure everything's going okay.
Yeah.
In life. So.
Yeah.
Just a welfare check.
So yeah, this new flow look and feel, it's minimalistic. I think if I can say that. I think the previous version that we see is that when you give people way too many choices, they start frantic. They start getting like, oh, do I need to check these boxes? What do they do? We're already telling them just go by the defaults, even though we're giving you these options. Here with this new one, we're just saying we've already pre-selected all that. We already made the cocktail for you, like you said, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about the vodka and the other things that go into it, but you can if you want to add more.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you probably shouldn't add too much vodka. I mean, there's obviously non-alcoholic versions of this available, but yeah, I just think it's useful. And as I say, not only have we hidden them, we've also really explained what it means without you having to read it and then read the information about it. You can just get the idea of what is actually going to happen, and you can make that choice based on the end result rather than what you think the end result might be based on the ingredient that you put in. So I think they've really helped with this actually. Okay, so Andrew, we didn't get to say welcome, so let me somehow get my mouse onto the correct screen and change the view. Hi, Andrew, how are you?
Hello, thank you. I now have working headset, so
Excellent.
Excellent.
So actually, the reason I'm skipping back to you is because I wanted to congratulate you on your.
Let me finish this one off, and that because it was the
There's
Easter.
a lot of background noise. Is that coming from? Probably coming from Andrew. Well, I want to say congratulations on your new role because you have recently, was it yesterday?
Officially yesterday.
Yeah, come up with a.
Congratulations. You changed role to CTO at Software Central, which is a huge
I know this is
impressive role and quite a lot of responsibility, right? That's
because we need to talk about send away test. Yeah, but yeah, the other one, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
What I think is a
Welcome.
in
I will sit on mute.
an admission edition
Fair enough. Okay,
Um,
good. It's
What
good to have an
power
extra
is-
person in the
do
call
it
as well.
That's
so-
the life of
Well,
a,
that's
that's the life of a CTO.
and we'll do it. I'll get it
Yeah.
together as the first pass, and then I'll share it. It's probably easier to just share around. People can have a look at it and see.
That was distracting, but fine. Thanks, Andrew. Anyway, huge congratulations. I've lost my track. Thankfully, I've got
I think we should do the whole. I say take them off and let's do the whole thing like that as a challenge run.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to fail it. I would fail that. In fact, one of the questions what I was going to ask was, what are you focusing on at the moment? But I will not, because I wouldn't be focusing on your answer. So it's absolutely fine. Okay, so we've talked about the new flow interface. And the other thing I wanted to quickly talk about was PSADT, because I've done a lot of research into PSADT recently. I've done a couple of videos on it. And that there's a huge, I haven't got a tab about it. Anyway, there's a huge set of changes that have come in PSADT. I thought I had a tab about it earlier on, but I don't, so never mind. But PSADT obviously is integral to how Robopack delivers applications to the endpoint, and PowerShell App Deploy Toolkit have recently made some huge changes with version 4 from version 3, and what is hopefully well known by people who use Robopack, we haven't adopted that yet. And I didn't really understand the reason that we hadn't pushed forward and adopted that. And it turns out we were waiting for version 4.1 because we have been hammering again around the code on that to try and implement that version next. I think the number of changes that have gone into 4.1 is an immense amount of changes compared to version 4. And obviously they had to kind of build the architecture and change how the foundations work, I think, before making such a huge change. And so I'm not criticizing how PSADT have done that, but I think the changes in 4.1 are going to be the most impressive for the people who use PSADT, and certainly for Robopack, because we take advantage of all of that. So yeah, have you seen the changes, guys? Have you had any experience of that?
No, I saw your video on it. You talked about it. Stuff. It was pretty insightful, actually. So I know from seeing from social media and stuff like that a lot of IT pros are very excited about it, the new version. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the modular approach, which opens up a lot more flexibility with the packages. I just started looking at it. It was funny because when we talked, I was going to do a video on just PSADT in general because I didn't do that. And then 4 came out, so I scrapped it. I figured, well, let me get 4 get out there, we'll wait a little bit, and then we'll start from scratch. I know logging has an overhaul to it as well, which is really nice. The native module support. But yeah, I think it's a lot. I think it's a big step forward. It's from a practitioner's perspective, right? Which is always nice when you know that somebody made something with the idea of the actual use in mind.
Yeah.
I
think the modular thing, maybe I've misunderstood the modular thing, because I think the modular thing only kind of has any difference for the people building the apps. Like create an instance of, because I think in the past you had to just download it and then you would copy it, and then that would be your template, and you'd use different versions of it in the future. But with the module, you can create an instance of the toolkit, and then you would modify that one. The next time you just create another instance of the toolkit.
Correct.
And I don't think that makes that much of a difference. I mean, obviously it's better, it's an improvement, but I don't think from my perspective it would make too much of a difference.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you're doing, right? The fact that it's it's more about the functions, I think. Right, because they're all in a folder now. Like instead of one file, you can have the individual ones in a folder. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I could have hallucinated that, so you got to fact check me there. But yeah, there's like they should show it. Yeah, there's like a functions folder now. The functions could be individual files.
Right. Okay. I mean, to be honest, I only looked at 4.1.0 mainly to see the removal of service UI, because that's
that's
so really I did that. This is taking a long time to load. I think It's like I'm running a live stream and downloading 4 high-res cameras and stuff to my desktop. Anyway, so this is the website. Take a look. It's a lovely website, to be honest. And now it's got these 3 different states in development, stable and deprecated. We're still using the deprecated version in Robopack. Very soon we will have 4.1 implemented as soon as it's released. So that should be fun. Good. Okay. Andrew, I think you said you might have fixed your. You haven't kicked the person out of the room, but you might have fixed the mic it was using. Is that?
Let's find out. How does it sound?
Oh, I can hear your voice. Yeah.
And nothing else?
No, nothing else at all.
Ah, there we go. Excellent.
All right. Well, can I ask you a question
computers.
about what you're focusing on then at Software Central? Because it's a huge thing to take on a role like that, and I'm massively impressed and congratulations to you. But what are you focusing on at Software Central? Alongside
the tenant manager, which is growing, we've got a massive roadmap. The existing SCCM management tool, or config manager, or whatever hell it's called these days. It'll always be SCCM to us. And also I get to do the fun day-to-day stuff like ISO 27001 and all the other fun bits involved in that. But tenant manager is still the primary focus, but I need to try and link that in with all the other existing products.
Right. So tenant manager, I've just put the link on the screen there. That's a link to just check out tenant manager. But we are doing a little live stream in a week's time, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Which I do have on full screen there, as you can see.
There you go.
I look so happy. That's the happiest I've ever looked. I
don't even know if it's you, Steve. To be honest, that's too happy. That is way too happy. But there you
are.
A
lot of caffeine in that one.
Yeah, well, any caffeine, because you don't do decaf, don't you?
That's true. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to this. I will say, tenant manager is. I love tenant manager, so I'm excited to talk about that here.
I mean, whilst we've got tenant manager on that picture, it's not just a session about tenant manager, is it? I mean, it's mainly about
we want to cover
conversation.
What we've experienced in our combined. I mean, based on our ages, at least 4 years of Intune experience.
At least 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, at least 4 years between us. Yeah.
Because Intune does go wrong, and the question simply there is posed by the marketing team: how fast can you recover?
Yes. I mean, Intune itself doesn't go wrong. It's normally user error. In fairness.
Yeah. Well, not the end users. They're normally never the problem. In this case, it's going to be the admin users.
Yes, stupid admins. Yeah,
stupid admin. Well, I've been a stupid admin many a time.
We are the stupid admins.
I cannot wait to tell the story about that. But yes, there is a QR code there if you want to jump into that. It just takes you to the LinkedIn page. We do have the LinkedIn stream happening, same as this one, really. Also the YouTube in simulcast, I think they refer to it as. So we'll be streaming to both of those channels at least, maybe some more. Good. Okay. So, yes, I just wanted to come back to that. Now I can actually hear you without a circus happening in the background or whatever it was.
It is a very busy house at the moment.
Good. That's fine. That's fine. So we're actually also heading to some conferences over the next few months. I don't think it's conference season, but it feels like it.
I think it started though. I think we're getting into event season now. It's that's quite a few. Up there.
So where are you heading to next, Harjit? Are you going as kind of Robopack or just yourself?
No, Robopack. Well, hey, it's all about the robot, man. You got to do that.
Yeah.
So I may be going. I'm still contemplating on it, but end of next week there is a user group in Minneapolis. It's one of the large user group, TCS MUG. Basically, MMS, kind of started from that user group and then became a big conference. So I might be there, but then the other ones are like Ninja, Workplace Ninja Switzerland. We'll all be there. We'll be at the booth and all that fun stuff. And then we have, I have MMS in Nashville, Ignite, probably Experts Live US, and who knows what else.
So I was listening, but I actually just have noticed something, which is that we have no messages in chat at all.
I
And
noticed that
just
too.
I just went over to LinkedIn while you were talking there. I took a brief moment. It is full of people. We need to we need to take a look at what people are asking.
Can you share your screen?
That is a great question, but then it would like be Inception, because you'd be able to see this.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Do you want me to hang on? How do I
I'm
get
gonna-
this on LinkedIn?
I'm gonna grab the message from Samuel actually, because this I'll just put it into
Oh,
our chat.
that is weird. I've loaded
Yeah, I don't know
LinkedIn.
how that's happened.
I don't
So-
like this. Okay, I have LinkedIn open, so do you want me to drop them in our chat?
Yeah, that would be good. So, firstly, Samuel, thank you for the question. If it's a question, so with PSADT 4, it's convenient to have a PS module for direct access to functions without running the beginning of the script. I would love to understand what that means. I would love to, Steve, if you're working through this, or if anyone has time to talk me through that, I would love to understand what the implications of that are, because I just take the files, modify the script, and then push it as a new in-tune win. I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played too much with it yet, but I think it's the idea of, yeah, I mean, you used to have, if you think about traditionally, you have your module, and you load up you like front load everything, as opposed to having it available to call this. Basically, the script can call upon all that, right, from the functions folder, I believe, without running. So it's like it's more of a like a .NET app approach, where you have your classes, right, available to you that you just kind of call and invoke throughout the rest of your app, so to speak. But in this case, you just have your modules, and the scripts can access them without front loading them. I believe that's the case, but I'm going to play with it a bit more, and I'll have some, probably a video on it, unless I get bored and don't do the video. So you never know.
Oh, I think the issue is that I'm not a developer, because you started talking about .NET, and I have no idea what that's.
Well, so that's my thing, right? I have a thing where it's like, Steve does things he has no business doing. So I play in certain spaces, but I definitely don't know if I could say I'm a developer. But you start to see a lot of the same things over and over again.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So we have a question from Matt. I appreciate we've also got one on YouTube, so I'll try and now handle too many questions at once. Can Robopack handle applications that require custom installation commands such as MSI exec/I custom flag equals 1? And will future updates automatically retain these custom arguments, or will I need a script? Great question. So I can answer that. I just need to get to a screen. Let me share that. So yeah, thank you for the question. Let me turn off that QR code so we can all see. That is already possible to do. So the question, I guess, I did just read it out, but let me just give my interpretation of it. You need to install an application, but make a slight change to it. And so, for example, if we go to Instant Apps and take a look at Notepad, for example, we might want to take the standard installation of Notepad, get that into Robopack ready to push. But before we do, we want to actually add a custom setting. Now, just a second ago, there was a button there called Add Custom Setting. It disappeared. And the reason it disappeared is because I've already got one for Notepad. So it's now there. And if there's already a custom setting, you don't want to add another one. But if I was to click that, it would open the same interface as this here. At least it would open this one here, where you can make changes to the custom setting and create that custom setting, which might be, as you say, do a /qn, or I think you said something like custom property equals 1, for example. You can make those changes on a per app basis using a custom setting. And then to your next point, which was, do you want to, does it adopt those custom settings on a new version of the app? Yes, automatically. As a new version of the app is released, it will adopt the custom settings that you had, unless you were to go in and change the target version to a specific version, it would always adopt it on the latest version as well.
It might be worth clicking that plus tenant button as well, because some people, so say you've got an RMM, and in the MSI install, you've got to put a site key for a particular customer. You might have a different one for each tenant.
So that's a great point. Yeah, exactly. So if we just, rather than on a everyone basis, if you deploy into multiple tenants and you're an MSP, or even if not an MSP, you just got lots of tenants for whatever reason, might be collecting them, you can choose this button here, and it will let you choose the tenant that you want. And in this case, I'll just add the Robopack tenant there, and you can choose the command that you want for each tenant, as you say, Andrew. And that means that I could add a separate tenant here, maybe the test one, and have a separate set of commands, have a separate set of settings. And it's not just the commands, obviously, it is the registry items, it's the files that you can import on top of the existing ones, and the PowerShell scripts. So crucially, PowerShell scripts is not actual PowerShell commands, it's ones that are supported by PSEDT in the PSEDT language, because it's running with inside PSEDT, but still it's just PowerShell. And yeah, you're right, that's a great point. So all of these, as you can see, are changing every time I switch to a different tenant, and it's really clever how it packages them all up and sends the right one to the right tenant, I think.
Well, this is massive, and I always talk about this for two reasons. One, it's massive because folks who have apps that update frequently, to have the settings catalog like that and be able to just update comes, it knows to go grab that custom setting. So the fact that they could stay agnostic of the individual version unless you target them. And then again, about the tenant thing, there's not a lot that's so easy for MSPs. I feel like Intune and MSPs go by the wayside a lot of the time. So this just has these inherited, it's not like you have to do extra work to make this work. If you're an MSP, it's just built in. But if you're not an MSP, it's not like going to get in your way. It's not like you're looking at an MSP tool. So I think it's just really intuitive how that's there. So if you use Robopack, or if you tried it and you haven't looked at the custom settings, 100% it's a killer feature that needs to be checked out for those reasons.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, thanks for reminding me. I think it is really important. And also thanks for the question, because that's clearly something I just assumed everyone knew, but it's a great point. Fine. So let's go back to this. And I was going to talk about something else, but there's now questions coming in. Hi, Gleb. Good to see you. So a question from someone. Hey, what is Robopack? I answered that. And that was an easy one. I could do that myself. But then, as a full stack dev, how can I use it? What would any ideas if you're a developer and you have no idea how to use Robopack? Is it relevant? Is it going to change your life?
Well, someone should stop. Every time I start talking about development, someone should stop me. But until then, I'll keep talking. That's
the closest we've got, Steve.
So I know it's got API integrations. So I'll put it this way. I did a project once where we worked with a company's development team to build a CI/CD pipeline into Intune. So as they created apps, they flowed through Intune to different groups for flighting. I would imagine, because Robopack has great API integration, it might be something worth looking into if you know what I'm saying? Like if you do that kind of stuff for your organization and want a better way to flight apps, if you combine that with the Robopatch, I would imagine there's a lot there. You can build something really cool, but that's getting into the minutia of it. So I guess the answer is yes, but that might be a good reason to reach out to Robopack and say, hey, here's my specific use case, and spend some time talking to me about it.
That was a really good answer. I'm really happy.
I'm impressed with myself. That's it for me for the day. I'm going to go home after this.
We're so proud of you, Steve.
I love it.
Okay. Any more questions?
There's one question there from Teddy. I don't know if you missed it.
Oh gosh, yes. My bad. The what is Robopack threw me. So from Teddy. Thank you. Let's put that on screen. So I don't think there's a way to change the naming standard for radar groups. We need to be able to tell in-tune related groups from the rest. So that's a good point. Radar groups being the ones that get created for radar tracking, I assume you're referring to there. Otherwise, I don't think any groups get created without that. So we can take
normal groups when you create the app, right? Like you can have Robopack create the 3 groups for you, the available, required, install.
Yeah, I
can
wouldn't
rename those though, can't you?
You can. I wouldn't have referred to them as radar groups though.
Right. Yeah.
But-
I guess that's
But yeah, you're right. So if we take a look at if we analyze and build FileZilla, for example, we can make it create these groups for us here.
that's a standard.
Maybe these ones here, depending on the templates that you've got.
Uh-huh.
You can change those in the templates. Certainly, you just go into templates and change those. That's the whole point of those ones. But then if you're talking about radar and radar tracking, let's look at that briefly. When we add a wave and we talk about tracking, I need to quickly add a group here. So it gives me the auto. I select that. Now, once I've selected that, that means that it will automatically create that radar tracking group and populate it with the devices that have been found to have .NET Framework 4.8.1. But if you want to change that, you go into manual and then it tells you what group it will create. And you're welcome to just change that by removing it and choosing create a new group and giving it whatever naming standard you like, or choosing an existing group. I think one of the reasons you might choose create new group is because you can use these variables which are useful in a patch group, which will be deploying multiple applications, so therefore have different names. Because if you use an existing group, obviously we'll just put them all in that group. I'm not sure how that would work. So
yeah, I think it's good. So I see like you have a standard naming convention and the fact that you might want to add something to them. So that's good right there. But honestly, for these groups, for me, I kind of like them to stick out like a sore thumb because I see them as somewhat temporary, depending on what you're. Because here's the thing, right? If radar is finding stray apps or stray devices with apps, it means we're not targeting them. So it's like it saved us, and we probably should think about targeting them for the future.
Or removing the apps.
Or removing them to make sure, because they shouldn't be getting it.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing with radar tracking. It highlights a problem, as you say, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you've got to solve the problem. One way to solve it is to patch the apps. That's what we do.
Right.
The other way to solve it is to remove the app from the people who don't need it. And that actually is a feature that is coming. So back into radar. Right now we've got this list of problems, as you put it. And one of the choices is to patch the app, as you can do here. The other way to solve it is to remove it. And we're going to put a button. I think we were talking about putting a button somewhere here, maybe, to remove the application from devices.
So that'd be nice. I've been setting up uninstall patch flows.
And uninstall patch flow is an interesting one. I've never thought of a patch flow. I've been pushing uninstalls. So
yeah.
You wouldn't want to remove .NET Framework. Let's say Dolby Access, for example. If I was to click that and choose C details for instant app, I can then import it and push the uninstall. I just get it into Intune and push the uninstaller. And that would work lovely because then you can just add all devices into it and exclude the group that are meant to have the app.
You can. I think it all comes down to the company. Bigger companies, regardless of the change, don't want to make one change in one swoop, even if it's like, hey, we found World of Warcraft on 5,000 PCs and we got to remove it. Granted, you shouldn't have World of Warcraft, but they don't want to do it all in one shot. So they give you the option. But I like the idea of the uninstall button, though, too.
But I really am blown away because I never even considered that use case. And I obviously understand organizations don't want to just do a thing.
Yeah.
I've never considered doing a patch flow. You're suggesting you would do a patch flow
for uninstall.
Which uninstalls. I didn't even.
Oh, that's the only way I knew how to do it. It wasn't just being.
That works too, I think.
Clever. Uninstall.
Right
Simon
you can do an uninstall. Obviously, you wouldn't choose all users. You would choose
your pilot group or whatever.
For something.
Yeah.
And then the next wave would be everyone uninstall. That is so interesting.
Well, it's just again like the flexibility. It's really just orchestrating Intune. So
Yeah.
again, big companies, it could be anything. They're like,
Yeah.
you have a virus. We're not gonna install that virus all at once. We're gonna roll it out. We're gonna beta
We're gonna
test.
massage it a little bit.
Exactly. Let's calm down. So, you know,
That's really interesting. Okay, so
So
next.
there is a question from Matt Hughes on LinkedIn. I don't have LinkedIn access on this machine here,
All right.
but he says, how does the radar feature work? Does it check the registry uninstall keys on a device? How reliable is it in matching product names? Should we patch and manage everything that Robopack picks up via radar, or be selective?
I think there's a few questions in that. Can I answer one of them
Yep.
at a time? And I'm going to go for how does radar work, because that's an easy one.
Does it check the registry uninstall keys? That's the first one.
Perfect. So it does not do that. I'm just checking to see if I have access to the Intune tenant that I rebuilt my Mac. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier on, but I've rebuilt it so that now I've got no access to any of the stuff right at my fingertips. So I need to just check if I've got a machine, and I do have a machine. And let me check if I've got something before I put it on the screen. There you go. Okay, so we have a feature called Discovered Apps in Intune, and Robopack relies on Intune features. We don't need an agent on the device. We don't want to reach out to these devices directly with scripts. That would be too much. Intune's really built for that, and the Discovered Apps feature really well collects information from devices and presents it. The problem is that it presents it in a pretty poor way. Like, for example, it's chosen, it's given me this list of apps that are on this particular machine, but I've got to go to that machine to find that list of apps. And then if I wanted to get a whole picture of the entire organization, I'd need to go to every machine, either programmatically or via the interface, which obviously isn't ideal. So we've just put all that information together and presented it as radar. And that's where the radar information comes from. So to answer your question, does it use the uninstall keys on the registry? No, it doesn't. I mean, Intune might, but Robopack doesn't directly. It will just use the Intune data. What was the other question?
How reliable is it in matching product names?
Yeah, so that is a problem for any software asset management stuff, because the product names are not consistent across all the different places you see it. It's pretty reliable. And what we actually have internally is the ability to add an alias if someone raises a ticket saying that we know we've got this application in our environment and it says it's at the bottom and it's not available for patching, then you can see we as the Robopack team can add an alias and select the library app that actually makes it match there. So that's possible for us. That's not a feature that customers have, obviously, because it will affect all customers, and it's you need to be in as one of the admins to do that. But that's it is pretty good. We've got a lot of logic in there. No AI, just logic to figure out how to match applications, but we can also manually match it using an alias.
Yep.
Okay, so any more questions?
We got a couple more here from YouTube.
Do we?
Luca and Pavel.
That's a lovely question. So when you import an app into Robopack, it detects dependencies. It does detect dependencies in the library apps, yes. And if the app is under Robopatch, how will that be maintained? I think all Robopatch does is automate the deployment of applications from the library. And in the library, it detects the dependencies and bundles them in with PSADT in the same package. So it isn't any different at all for Robopatch compared to Robopack library apps. I don't think it's any different at all. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a difference there. But I've just spotted that actually Pavel's asked a question. Is there a way to manage app dependencies using Robopack directly? So a custom app needs OLDB driver 19, which needs a redist of VC++. So an interesting point is that we detect the library app dependencies automatically using our logic. We don't automatically do that for your custom apps. So it'll be sorted for you with the library. We don't do it for custom. So that means that if you know that your app needs OLEDB driver 19, then you have to put them in the package. You have to put them into the custom app using pre-install scripts and the PSADT features. So good questions. And answered slightly different. So if it's a library app, it's all fine. If it's not a library app, you have to manage it yourself.
Yeah.
Another question from. Oh, sorry. Did you have more to that? Oh. Question from Matt is: if a device doesn't have an app, but it's in the patching group, is Robopack smart enough to skip the patching, or will it just install the app?
Say that question. Again.
Yeah, it's basically saying if a device, let's say, will Robopack, will it patch? Like if you got a device in a group that doesn't have Chrome, and you're trying to patch Chrome, I think it'll install Chrome. It's not going to skip it because there's no difference from a deploy. Robopatch is for deploying and patching, if I'm not mistaken. You can't say don't do any new deployments. So
yeah, it's not just for patching.
It's going to push Chrome. Yeah. So I would, and that's just going to come down to, honestly, the organization of the tenant, right? Which is like, we don't want devices in groups that, if it's being targeted for Chrome, it shouldn't be in there, right? Obviously things happen. I'm not saying like, oh, you should, that's impossible. But yeah, it's going to deploy Chrome to the device.
Yeah, and I wonder if Matt's question is related to Radar putting devices in groups based on the app discovered apps feature, because there is a slight delay on the discovered apps feature picking up changes. Yeah. And that is it's a concern because we're going to put devices in the group, and if you remove it from that group, then we need to make sure we don't put it back in. And so there is some protections in place to not really quickly put the device back in to the group if you've removed it from the device. I'm not 100% familiar with what they are, but we talked about that being a problem that we needed to solve, and they've apparently solved it. So it'd be good to test, I think, to see if how quickly that is resolved. But yeah, good point. So no one's talked about the macOS feature. No one's brought it up. So I think we'll just end it there.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, macOS, just a brief update from me on this. So we've actually made quite a bit of progress, and we were very confident that we would hit the preview before the end of July, which is why it was in H1 on the roadmap of Robopack. Obviously, we're not in H1 anymore, so cards on the table, we didn't hit that. We were really confident we would, which is why we didn't change it. But it is an important feature, and we want to make sure we get it right and make it as good as we can, because there's a lot riding on getting this right for Robopack, because we expect there to be a lot of uptake when we do push this to live. So when it is ready, we'll make it available as soon as possible to early access. And really, we're eager to get your feedback on it. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to us and let us know, and that'll get you on the list that doesn't really exist of people who we know really want to get access to it first. So yeah.
We do get this question every now and then, but as we say, we want to do it right the first time. It's not put something out there and then try to fix it as we go along. It's like making sure it's just like PSADT 4.1, right? That's what we want to do. So
yeah, and I think we are definitely going to fix it, and almost all the features. So Radar, for example, was released at the bare minimum of what it was able to do, and then we've made it better and better and better and better. We are going to release a version that is not perfect, when we will have to fix it, but we need it to be good enough and not
Right.
because if an organization takes it on, we need it to not be a problem for them to use
Right.
in production. It should be production ready, and that's the problem. Mainly with scale, because we are trying to do analysis of all of these Mac apps that we're putting into our library. That is quite difficult to scale, given that Apple virtualization isn't quite as free and available as as Windows is. But there's lots of complexities around it. Gleb
You
asking if
buy
that
like
means,
1,000 Mac Minis and just stack them up on top of each other and use that.
yeah, we have considered it, and I have a lot of Mac Minis. So maybe, but even then, you're only allowed to run 2 VMs on each Mac Mini, like from a licensing perspective. So that only gives us the ability to scale to 2,000 machines in parallel, which may be okay, may not be. We need to, and it's a lot of expense to get to a point where it may be okay, right? So, anyway, so the question from Gleb is, does that mean September? I have no idea really if we can say September or August or October, but where that is the next thing that we're pushing.
I'll
He
say
did
there's so many
specify
products.
which year.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You didn't specify which year, September, in fairness.
That's true. Yes, it's definitely
true.
by September. Again, not exactly which year.
I've seen a lot of products. You know, obviously there's so many products, especially as you're entering the space of, I'll call like Intune add-on or Intune enhancement. And some of them are really good and some of them release, and unfortunately they have a lot of work ahead of them, right? And that gives everyone a bad taste in their mouth. So for me, and what I tell folks is, I mean, to me, Robopack executes on what it does pretty near flawlessly, right? Nothing's perfect, but it's a good experience. So I would imagine, just with what I've seen about the product, is they want the same thing with Mac, right? Because if it were to come out and it's like, it's not a great experience, you know how hard it is to get people to take a second look at a product? It's near impossible. So I think,
well, it's the same thing when Intune, a few years ago with Mac support, right? So Microsoft would say, "Oh yeah, we can support Macs," but not really. And then what people did was they went with a third-party product,
exactly,
integrate, right?
Yeah.
And it took a long time before they could even be good enough to get something in Intune.
Yeah. Taking that second look, like if you're an admin day to day, and because you're not just dealing with app patching, you're not just dealing with Intune, you're dealing with all kinds of stuff. So to say, oh, well, have you looked? Intune no, I don't have time to go look to see the progress they're making.
Right.
I'm busy and I chose my product. So
exactly.
I think if, as long as Robopack, takes the time to get it right, to knock it out of the park, it'll be a good, it'll be a good release.
Yeah, I like how Dean put it, right? We got to get it to a point where it's good enough. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for people to actually get in the car and drive to the grocery store. But hey, do you want those shiny wheels later? Sure, we'll work on that, and we'll build over it. And obviously with customer feedback and our testers out there, we're obviously going to add on and build on it. Hey, so. All right. So, okay. You got your QR code up there. I was going to bring up something else, but go ahead.
No, I was just putting it on there just to give
right.
people another chance to scan it. We had a few people scan it when it was up there earlier on, so I thought I'd put it back.
So I do want to give props, and I promised my buddy Xander that I would bring this up. So he wanted me to make sure that we talk about the config manager migration tool with Robopack. It seems like it's kind of an unknown thing to some people, and I think it's a great tool, but there's some caveats to it as well. And I think we should piggyback that with Andrew with the config manager application that he has with Software Central.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. This is that's fine. So I just brought it up onto the screen there just so I can talk about this bit. We have this config manager import tool. And it is a simple tool that you download, an executable. So, you run it on your site server or a computer with access to the site server, probably. And then you, let me show you. You would log into Entra, and then you would log into your site, and then it would find the apps. And I've kind of been walking through this with customers because they've had a need to move from Config Manager to Intune. We've got a lot of customers who are doing that. And really, you don't need to use this all that often. This is actually the worst case scenario where you need to use something, because what actually this does, as you can see, is takes the apps that you've got and the exact version and the content of it and packages it into Intune with PSADT and gets it into your Intune. But we already do that with Radar, right? The whole point of Radar is to take the apps that you've got in your environment and package them as PSADT and get them into Intune. But Radar has the additional benefit of giving you the latest version and always the latest version every time it gets released. So if you find that you've got apps in this list because you've got co-management running or tenant attached where you can get the data into Intune, then this is where you start with a config manager migration. You get this list clear, and then you go back to your config manager import and you find the apps that are not the apps that you've just migrated. Obviously, you need an Excel spreadsheet or something to get those to get a list of the apps that you care about, and then you have to figure out where the content is. And because sometimes, when you have an app, the content location has moved. It's correct on the distribution point, so it's not failing. But we've got the ability to map content right against the new share and stuff. So it's a tool that's been used, and we've had customers migrate 60,000 applications using it. Before Radar was a thing, actually, to be fair. But that's that's certainly the case, and I think that's the only caveat really around it, that you should probably use Radar first if you can. That said, though, I did take a look at that feature of that you're referring to with Andrew's Software Central product, which is called what? What's a Software Central product called?
Application Manager, I think. Am I right?
Let's get Andrew off mute.
Am I off mute?
No, you weren't talking. I thought you.
Oh no, it is
App Manager.
Yeah.
You did a video on that too, Dean. So I believe.
Sorry?
You did a video on that.
I did. Yeah. So Software Central Application Manager is a module within the original Software Central tool, because what they started to do is to kind of create and develop modules of the product to really enhance them and make them as good as they can be. That module fully integrates with Robopack, which I kind of loved because I like Robopack and I like Config Manager. I used to like Config Manager. And the thing I used to hate about Config Manager was having to do that app packaging stuff, and the ability to just use the Robopack library to create Config Manager apps is huge.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit taboo to talk about that, though, isn't it? Because aren't we meant to be advocating people stop using Config Manager?
There are some people who are stuck with it, though, and they're not getting the love anymore. So, that's why we have existing tools to. If you are in an organization where you're stuck with Config Manager for another 3 years because you've got some hideous on-prem application and you're stuck,
no way to live.
We're telling people not to do hybrid autopilot, and if they want a hybrid join, to stick with what they're doing. So,
good advice.
If they're sticking with what they're doing, then someone's going to look after their SCCM for the interim, and that's where we can help.
Well, I think the big challenge there is there's still an air gap issue with Intune. So it's not like you're stuck with SCCM, but anything where something's air gapped, there's just no solution. And that's the biggest reason I see folks needing SCCM. So we get it.
One of the biggest ones is server management, right? Config Manager is great for that. And that's what a lot of them are using and holding on to it, because they still need to, patch their servers and whatnot, but you can't do that with Intune. But this tool with Software Central, I know I packaged a lot of apps with, SCCM and stuff like that. It's tedious, right? You got to go through the steps. You got to go through the dependencies and the, and all the nuances and stuff like that. But this tool really makes it very simple. If you really have to package apps in Config Manager, we got a solution for you. And then you can move on to Intune and Robopack and all that fun stuff.
I would love to show it. I'm desperately trying to find where I found it originally. And obviously with all of my links not being on my browser. I can't show it, so I would love to put a link. I'll put a link to softwarecentral.com because I think there's so much history there. It's been around for 20 years at least, so there's so much history of the original products that are around. And let me just put that there.
We'll link to your video as well, maybe.
That's a good point, but again, I haven't got a link to it, so I'll put that one on the screen. That's just, I promise, that's softwarecentral.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. So application manager, and how? So Andrew, I know we haven't talked about this much, but obviously tenant manager. How does that relate to the existing solutions that you've got with?
So the existing solutions are for managing config manager, and soon in June at the local level. Tenant managers more for managing at the top end tenant level, backup, restore, and more importantly multi-tenant, because it's multi-tenant out the box. So it's taking a step above your day-to-day apps devices and looking at it at the tenant level.
Rather than the SCCM level.
Rather than the SCCM level, yes.
Right. Okay, got it. And thankfully, I also did find the link to the video, which is called Patch Config Manager Apps. I like to do SEO ready titles, and that was pretty much the worst title I could think of. Because no one wants to patch config manager apps these days. They always want to use the cool stuff. But there it is. That's a video on how to use Software Central Application Manager. Cool. Okay. So actually, just on back to that thing we were talking about Mac for a second, weren't we? And I talked about the fact that we'd have some kind of early access or private preview, that kind of thing. Andrew, you've had experience of releasing an early access for the Tenant Manager product. How did that go? Is that the link I shared earlier on? Is that this one here, or is that just the normal?
I mean, it's out of early access now, so the link will probably be the same.
Right.
I mean, early access is great because we can test as much as we can possibly test, but we're not perfect, and I can't test every possible, conditional access policy variation or anything like that. It gives us the feedback that we need to improve things. People in early access have to understand it is early access. There will be bugs, but if you can help us fix them, then you can make a better product.
And I guess is there a better or more a quicker feedback mechanism for people in the early access? Then you get closer access to the developers so they can fix
yes,
things.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a Teams channel going, so they can literally message directly to the team.
Right, that's pretty cool.
The feedback in.
That is pretty
and
cool.
I mean, hopefully that would be the same for any of the Mac stuff that we deliver for Robopack. That would be useful.
Yeah, I mean, you can't test every Mac app, can you? That's just not going to be viable. So you're going to need that early feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we can test to the point where we can see if it installs or uninstalls.
Yeah.
But we obviously don't know. Yeah, testing at scale and stuff and in real production environments is obviously not something we could even try to think about doing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm really looking forward to this thing that are on the bottom of the screen there. It's actually covering both your faces, so apologies for that.
My face, the picture is better anyway. Leave it. I'm clearly excited about it. Look at me.
Right, that is a better picture of you. You look happier, actually.
I'm thrilled to be a part of that. So come out to that thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I am looking forward because it's going to be sharing a load of stuff from me that I've stuff I've done wrong in the past and stuff I've that sounds wrong, doesn't it? Mistakes I've made when it comes to Intune, and I hope you're going to share your stories as well, Steve, because I imagine you've done quite a few mistakes in your Intune career.
Yeah, only a few thousand.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to it. We are pretty much we're over time now. We're coming up to the full hour, which is unusual for us.
Time flies when you're having fun with good friends.
It does. Any more questions in chat? I think we're done for questions, which is great. So all that remains to say is thank you to all of you for joining me and Harjit. Steve, sorry for dragging you out of bed so early. I appreciate it pretty early.
I'll go back to sleep after this. So we're good. We're good. I'm just gonna go right back to bed.
Well, that's why you've got the Robopack hoodie on, isn't it? It's just so comfortable. You can just exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. All right, cool. Thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time back here. Or if you would like to join the 200 and something people joining us on the live stream for our Software Central Tenant Manager live stream about when Intune goes wrong, how fast can you recover? Scan that link and we'll see you there. Otherwise, thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.